Get on my level, ho. What? Get on my level, ho. You can't. Get on my level, ho. You can't. Get on my level, ho. It's real deal, ho. Look scrappy, ho. It's B&B, ho. Let's go. Rich nigga, you can never ever, 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 ever. Get on my level, ho. What? Get on my level, ho. What? Get on my level, ho. What? Get on my level, ho. Rich nigga, you can never ever, ever.
Buy this car to drive to work to pay for this car. Buy this car to drive to work.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and tonight, Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, this one's spooky, isn't it? I'll explain why, but first, please remember to share, support, hopefully donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery, helping victims of Africom, right, Tulsi? And also, Cohen Daly, the Australian boy. Also, help support some content creators, Stevie, aka Redneck Economics, Sleepy J, buy him a coffee. I need a coffee, I'm fucking sleepy. I don't like coffee, actually. Coffee ice cream? No. And also, Ali Alexandra. All links are in the description box. Share them, support them, donate to them. Do it. All right. So, Tulsi Gabbard was, by a lot of followers and stuff like that, was considered an anti-war candidate when she was running in the Democratic primary. I understand why people said that. I also understood why people supported her. On the surface, I understand why people, like, as far as rhetoric said out loud, her, like a Bernie Sanders type, like those guys, obviously Mike Gravel, like those types would be considered the top picks for what I can understand as like well-meaning people who also have some knowledge of what happens in the world, right? If you have no idea what's going on, then yeah, different story. But if you have if you've done any type of research on foreign policy or even healthcare, even though people didn't like her healthcare switch, which I didn't really, whatever. Yeah. My biggest thing during that primary run was foreign policy. That's what made her so interesting and compelling to me. But I didn't say I would vote for her or anything. But I said I understand why people would vote for her. Especially when she does certain, like, oh, he brought up the idea of the CIA funding terrorists, quote-unquote terrorists, in Syria, amongst other foreign policy issues that verbally seem correct. But now we're going to watch something different. This is her on Tucker Carlson. Yeah, Tucker. Here we go.
Congresswoman, thanks so much for coming on. So you get to lie, I mean, this will not shock you because you've seen it so much, but you get to lie about the loss of human life, you get caught, and nothing happens to you? What kind of system is that?
Or
I
people.
mean, this kind of accountability is critical. I want to point out first that anytime there are civilian casualties in war, it is tragic and terrible. Yeah. War is a terrible thing, and I think it's important for the American people to understand that Islamist jihadists are continuing to wage war against us. And the Islamist ideology, not the same as the religion of Islam, but this Islamist ideology, which is a political ideology that inspired the terrorist attacks on our country on 9/11, is the greatest threat that we're facing right now in this country and the world. It is the
Wait, but you just said, like, war is terrible. So we need to, you're essentially saying, like, if you're going to say something like that, you're basically implying that a war needs to happen on those guys, right? When you're talking to, I don't know, isn't he like the biggest, I think he has the biggest audience on mainstream news or whatever the fuck. And when you're saying this, especially some of the no offense, like right-leaning mainstream TV watchers, come on, bro. But you have to know that that's sowing the idea of war that you just called bad. You just called terrible. No, but this one we have to have. Come on, bro. Go tell some guy like who's known for being like a macho man, gets in street fights all the time. Go tell him like, hey man, this guy right here, yeah, he just attempted to rape and kill you. Like what? What do you think that guy's gonna fucking do? Unless you were that stupid. Hard to believe. Hard to believe. Let's continue.
The foundation of governance of so-called Islamic countries like Turkey and Iran and Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. And it's what's behind the discriminatory policies that they have in these countries against Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, atheists, and others. So as long as...
What does that have to do with the war part, right? Are you saying they're particularly going after Christians, Hindus, Buddha? Like, this screams political talking points by a lot. I mean, she even said Hindu second, where it's like that to those constituents of yours. Like Iran, Saudi, like very weird. I know, like, I'm not saying those are good guy countries at all. At the same time, it's like, if a Muslim, let's say you do have like some weird creepy shit like they do in Saudi Arabia, right? You're a Muslim and you stand up to them, they're gonna fucking kill you. Be real about this. Just like a Jewish guy in Israel, if he tried to stand up to that fucking guy, they're gonna fucking kill him. It's like in the U.S., someone tries to stand up to the almighty Christian George W. Bush, you're fucked. I don't even really think it's not a. Let's be real. I don't think it's about religious ideology at all. These are business deals, in my opinion. The evidence leans in my favor over. They're just religious maniacs. When she first said this, Wahhabi Salafist ideology is blah, 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 like, I was like, yeah, I mean, I have no problem with you calling it what it is, like, if it has a name or something. I don't mind that. But what words are going to follow that statement? Where you, like, that is the end-all, be-all of behavior of what's happening in the Middle East. It's the end-all, be-all. They hate your freedoms. Been trying to wage war on us because we're Christian or Hindu or Buddhist or atheist. Really? Kind of past that point. I mean, you called it in Syria, Tulsi. If we were funding these rebels, right, these jihadist rebels, like, why would they take money from the U.S. and support and funds from the U.S. if their notion was like, this is a religious thing? We religiously hate America. That's why. That's why we fight. This is why we do what we do. Yet at the same time, they accept the money. Like, it doesn't make sense at all. Let's continue.
These Islamist jihadists are waging war against us. We have to work to defeat them militarily and ideologically. And militarily, we...
You see, those are probably the two spookiest things you could ever say. Especially a person with influence. Those are probably two of the spookiest things you could say, because it's two-pronged. Not only on the outward, external, on the surface level, we need to defeat it, which means what? Bombs, guns, and all this shit. War, the thing you just said was bad. But also, like, we need to defeat this psychologically. It was like, how do you do that? How do you do that? how do you get rid of a type of thinking or a belief? Either you get rid of everyone who believes that, or propaganda to condition them out of it. Like, that is a super duper creepy thing to fucking say. You should hear it again, actually.
Atheists and others. So as long as these Islamist jihadists are waging war against us, we have to work to defeat them militarily and ideologically. And militarily, we have two choices in how we do that. Number one, we can continue to invade and occupy and nation-build in countries around the world, just as we did in Afghanistan, at great cost. Number two, we can take a targeted approach using airstrikes, using our special forces to go in and go after these terrorist cells. The reality is that the cost to the American people, the cost to our troops, the cost to civilians will be far less if we take this very targeted approach to go after these jihadist terrorist cells than if we continue making the very same mistakes that we saw in Afghanistan and other parts of the world of invasion, occupation, and nation building.
I mean, you could see it in the tweet right there. Hopefully you guys can see it. Good. Like, Tucker Carlson brought up the story. Let me rewind to the beginning so you can see the Fox headline. Where's it? Biden's botched drone strike killed 7 kids. It's like, and then you advocate for drone strikes immediately after. Like, are you? I mean, what's the saying? We live in a clown world. It doesn't get more clowny than that shit. That's next level right there. You took that opportunity to turn, like, holy shit. And like, these are the questions that I like to focus on. Like, why? What was the point of this? What was the point of that? I mean, she did it with her tweet, right? About being stationed with special forces in Africa. What's the point? After that whole presidential run where I don't care if she truly believes this or some ignoramus believes it or if she's creepy, like she would never say that shit on the campaign trail. Which says what? I mean, that's the thing of why she was like, people would get upset with me for not voting for Bernie or Tulsi or whatever the fuck. Right? They'd make these arguments, and I'm like, it's less about what they do say. Like, what aren't they saying? What blatant actions are they not telling us they're going to take? To where I'm like, oh, I'm sure this person is going to do this, going to stand up to corruption. Meaning you call it out in every fucking direction. And when we're in the fucking debates, when we're watching the debates, right? Like, did we see that? Yeah, she fucking smoked Kamala and that other guy. I forgot his name, Tim Fuckface. Whatever that fuckface's name. Went after Buttigieg. But at the same time, it's like, there's some blatant shit from many of the people she's standing around where it's like, fucking kill them, expose the corruption. That would be a much better signifier than just made mistakes, by accident, invaded by accident. I don't even know if she was saying that. Really. She was saying more like the CIA was covertly funding these rebel groups and all that shit. Which is like, I was like, holy shit, when she said that out loud. And even like elaborated on it to some degree. But if you're not going to tell us how bad these other guys like around you are, no point. Useless. just playing strategy at that point. Thus, how could you ever get someone like me to support or like vote for you or support you or whatever? All right. In closing, let's try to do a character assessment. My favorite part. Everything about this screams, you were full of shit the whole fuck. There's no way that that shit happens. Literally telling you about like that's from the one running for office. That thing showed like if she heard a story about civilians being killed, you would think the focus would be more towards civilians. Right? We saw her Syria coverage where she goes to Syria and actually like walks amongst them. Right? Tells her stories and shit like that. It's like, oh, Tulsi had some sort of awakening moment. I fucking hope. Yeah. Because there's cool shit about her. MMA and all that, like. Yeah. It seemed cool at least. And the yoga video. I'm just playing. But I would not expect candidate Tulsi Gabbard to say that shit when she gets a story about civilians dying from drone strikes. Like they're like once you do this, once you say and do the CIA is funding this, and this country for these purposes, and guess what? The government and the military are following suit with it. Be real about that. I know she didn't fucking crap all over the military like that. But at the same time, it's like if they're going along with it and you're one of these fucking people and you're saying it, like surely some of them got to believe you, right? But apparently the big brass, the big suits don't give a fuck. They just follow orders from whoever the fuck. But yeah, if that's happening, how do you walk backwards from that? Unless something suspect is happening. And obviously you guys make your own decisions, but that's spooky to say the least. Just saying. I don't see how you take that right there. Like that, those are the things that will get me. Right there, I did a video on the Tulsi where she's just there sitting there talking and reading that shit. And I'm like, I can, like, there's some chance of her meaning well. Even though every case, there could be someone that's just this level of stupid. But it's hard to make the meaning well argument here with that. Hard to. As much as it could be, you're like an ass kisser, just following orders. You're not some independent, outside the box fucking person. I guess it doesn't have to mean creepy, but it definitely doesn't. Like, that kind of throws well meaning out the fucking window. Guess what? The absence of well meaning is the absence of well meaning. Either you mean well or you're not in that shit. So, my assessment is probably brainwashed, conditioned, dumb, go along to get along, and strategist, and hints of creepy. She wishes she was Klobuchar. Oh wait, what? Oh, sorry. I thought I had something on my mind. All right, that's it for me. Please subscribe if you like. Comment, agree, disagree. Tell me what you think. Is the idea of meaning well from this person, is she that stupid? Maybe she's just super duper ignoramus to somehow walk back on telling people on national TV that the CIA funds fucking Al Qaeda in Syria. that happened on national TV, and all of a sudden she doesn't look at any other foreign policy thing and be like, huh, I wonder if something suspect's happening here too. But I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. You tell me. Don't forget to share, support, hopefully donate to Devon's Journey to Recovery, helping victims of Africom, to Cohen Daly, the Australian boy. Also help out some content creators, Stevie, a.k.a. Redneck Economics, Sleepy J, Buy Him a Coffee, and Ali Alexandra. All links in the description box. And with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.
Say you wanna get in.
Ever.
Say you wanna get in.